Hi everyone, and welcome to the Screen Crowd. In Hollywood, the rise to fame can be a quick journey, but the fall can come just as easily. There are many actors that once used to rule the movie and TV screens, but now can't get hired.
I've been around, you know. There was a time I could see, and I have seen.
And today, we'll look at a top 10 list of them. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Number 10. Hilary Swank. In the list of celebrities that used to rule the movie screens and suddenly disappeared, there is no better example than the two-time Oscar winner Hilary Swank. Yes, Swank has won Oscars for Best Actress for her performances in Boys Don't Cry in 1999 and $1 Million Baby in 2004.
Doing the same.
I know, boss.
Good man to have in the corner.
Yes, he is.
However, over the last 15 years, her films have failed to hit box office gold, especially after her Oscar bait movies like Black Dahlia, Amelia, and The Homesman received negative reviews and small box office returns.
Something happens to me, you get in a wagon quick as you can, you shoot the women in the head and then shoot yourself.
And well, since then, her projects have lacked visibility and as a result, she has mostly fallen out of the limelight. But let's be honest, she is a very talented actress, so let's hope we get to see her again on our movie screens. Number 9. Meg Ryan. At her peak, there wasn't any star bigger than Meg Ryan. In the 90s, she was referred to as America's sweetheart, with films like When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, and City of Angels. She was the queen of romantic comedies.
But what I really don't want to do is end up always wondering what might have happened and knowing I could have done something. Is this crazy?
But sadly enough, the fame didn't last long for Ryan. When she tried playing against type in films like In the Cut and Against the Ropes in the mid-2000s, audiences and critics didn't respond well. And combine this with her scandalous love affair with Russell Crowe while filming Proof of Life, her sweetheart image seemed to be irreparably damaged. But she still remains a great actress, so a comeback might be closer than we expect. Number 8. Hayden Christensen. Even after being a major star in the popular Star Wars prequels, Hayden Christensen still didn't get his fair share of the limelight. Of course, the films helped him gain a lot of international fame, but it also got him a whole lot of criticism, as many people pointed out that his acting, and Jar Jar Binks,
an especially dangerous dog called Sebulba.
Misa hating crunching. That's the last thing Misa want.
was one of the biggest weaknesses of the whole trilogy, especially considering his character Anakin Skywalker would eventually turn to the dark side and become the iconic Darth Vader. That's quite a lot of pressure, isn't it? Sure, he had some critical success in other films like Life as a House, Shattered Glass, and Jumper in the early 2000s, but soon fell out of the public eye.
This whole summer having me here was for your sake. You selfish fuck.
Over the next decade, he chose to spend more time at his farm in Canada than on the big screen. But in 2022, he has reprised his Anakin Skywalker role in Obi-Wan Kenobi, a spin-off TV series of Star Wars on Disney+. So let's see if that finally helps him get his career back on track. Number 7. Brendan Fraser. Back in the mid-1990s, Brendan Fraser was probably one of the most promising young leading men in all of Hollywood. With a breakout role in 1992's School Ties, alongside Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and 1994's With Honors, co-starring with Joe Pesci, he went on a successful box office run with films like comedy hit Encino Man, the blockbuster Mummy franchise, and prestige films like Gods and Monsters.
Yes, I can't do this anymore. From now on, I'm just a guy who cuts your lawn. Got it?
And The Quiet American. So everything seemed to be looking very bright for his career ahead. But in Hollywood, one day you're on top, and the next you're yesterday's news. Fraser didn't work much at all beyond 2003, and in 2018, in a GQ article, Fraser says he was blacklisted in Hollywood following an alleged sexual assault from Philip Burke, former head of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Burke denied the claims, but Fraser says this alleged encounter and his speaking out on it caused his once successful acting career to suddenly disappear. Fortunately, Fraser is getting a lot of Oscar buzz this year for his upcoming film The Whale. Seems he may be primed for a comeback. Number 6. Julia Stiles. When we talk about romantic comedies of the 90s, it's hard to match the wildly popular 10 Things I Hate About You, a box office hit starring Stiles alongside the late Heath Ledger. After that movie, Stiles went on to star in Save the Last Dance and the hit Bourne series with Matt Damon. But her career quickly lost steam when she decided to take a break from acting to focus on her education after enrolling in Columbia University in the early 2000s. She went from being the it actress to falling off the radar for a lot of the top directors and producers in Hollywood. While she has had some roles in TV series recently like Dexter and the British series Riviera, she has failed to recapture the A-list career she once had. Number 5. Jennifer Love Hewitt. When we talk about actresses in the 90s and early 2000s, one of the first names that come to mind is Jennifer Love Hewitt. But we haven't heard much from her over the last decade or so. Hewitt spent some time on the A-list with the popular 90s TV series Party of Five, which ran from 1994 to 2000.
It's no big deal. I mean, it's what it was always, pretty much.
And films like Heartbreakers, Can't Hardly Wait, and I Know What You Did Last Summer in the early 2000s. But she wasn't able to find the right role to really send her film career to the next level. From 2005 to 2010, she starred in a popular drama on CBS called The Ghost Whisperer. But since its cancellation, she's only been able to get small TV guest starring roles. She spends most of her time with her husband and 3 kids these days. Number 4. Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's quite a shock that a beautiful Oscar-winning actress and wife to one of Hollywood's most famous leading men, Michael Douglas, is nowhere to be seen on the big screen in major roles. Catherine Zeta-Jones became a superstar in the late 90s with films like Mask of Zorro and Entrapment, and in 2002 she won an Oscar for her supporting role in Chicago and was at the peak of her Hollywood powers. So what suddenly happened? Well, Zeta-Jones starred in Death-Defying Acts in 2007 alongside Guy Pearce, and No Reservations with Aaron Eckhart.
Very mad.
This is my kitchen, and I'm not gonna let you take it away from me. This is who I am.
No, it's not.
But both films bombed at the box office. After this, she was unfortunately diagnosed with bipolar disorder and decided to step away from the spotlight and focus more on herself and her family.
Men like you have no idea what it feels like not to be believed.
But who knows? We could see Ms. Zeta-Jones return to the big screen sometime soon. We certainly hope so. Number 3. Taylor Lautner. After the fame of Twilight, Taylor Lautner seemed to be made for big things, especially considering his appearance as Jacob Black got so much hype all around the world. In fact, he was even given a leading role in the film Abduction back in 2011. But unfortunately, audiences weren't as interested in him as a leading man beyond his Twilight movies. Abduction turned out to be a flop for him, as many critics pointed out his poor acting. After that, he can only be seen in small cameos in Adam Sandler's comedies like Grown Ups 2.
Too slow, old man. Where you work out, Cinnabon?
And The Ridiculous Six. Of course, Lautner is still young, so we might see some more of him in the future, but it's looking pretty dim for now. Number 2. Vince Vaughn. Once among the list of the funniest men in Hollywood, it's quite sad that Vince Vaughn is struggling to find good roles on the big screen now and is in a deep career rut. After his roles in hit films like Swingers, Wedding Crashers, and Dodgeball, Vaughn built quite a fan base for himself, but that wasn't enough to keep his career going.
But this is my domain, okay? I don't go into your bedroom and set up a goddamn sawhorse.
Well, then what the hell is that pool table doing in the dining room?
Because that's a common area.
In the last decade, Vaughn's career has started to sputter, and things started to go off the rails in 2013 when he did The Internship with Owen Wilson. This was supposed to be a bit of a callback to the magic that he and Wilson had with Wedding Crashers years before, but audiences were growing bored with his on-screen persona due to his limited acting range. Similar to Meg Ryan, Vaughn's tried playing against type with a role in Season 2 of HBO's True Detective, but he appeared out of his depth on screen and critics and audiences took note.
Casper died with my money in his pocket. The holding company's empty. The land was never purchased and I'm out of my life's work.
Additionally, in recent years, Vaughn has been vocal about his right-wing political leanings, and throw in an arrest for a DUI in 2018, and that's a recipe for Hollywood career disaster. Number 1. Katherine Heigl. While Katherine Heigl has been acting on the big and small screen since the early 90s, it was her role as Dr. Izzy Stevens on the TV show Grey's Anatomy, which debuted in 2004, that made her a household name. Heigl was garnering awards attention from the Emmys and Golden Globes for her role on Grey's. As a result, film producers came calling too. She quickly became the new queen of the rom-com, starring in hits like Knocked Up, 27 Dresses, and The Ugly Truth. But following the release of Knocked Up in 2007, she did an interview with Vanity Fair where she called the movie a little sexist, claiming that the film paints the women as shrews, humorless, and uptight, and it paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys.
You have to be two people, the saint and the sinner, the librarian and the stripper.
Well, director Judd Apatow and co-star Seth Rogen didn't appreciate this, especially since the film launched her film stardom. She would continue to gain the reputation as difficult on set, even with her Grey's Anatomy cast and crew, as she disagreed with her character's direction in Season 4, saying the storyline wasn't up to par. She was written out of the show, and her film career went south as well, as she was being paid up to $12 million per picture. But the films were flopping at the box office. Her prospects quickly dried up, and we haven't heard much from her in the last decade. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to The Screen Crowd. And we'll see you guys next time.